Welcome to the mission, the fiction mission. Today I'll be doing a presentation that I'm calling The Seeds of Mark through the lens of my primitive mark and priority theory. And so, what are the seeds of Mark? We've got 5 items here to discuss. We've got the baptism, Trinity, the Eucharist, the idea of a Messiah or a Messiahship, and of course, the crucifixion and resurrection. Right, so in the opening scene of the story of Mark, we have John the Baptist down at the River Jordan, performing baptisms, and of course Jesus comes to visit him and gets baptized. In this version, he does get baptized. In later versions, he's not baptized. But while he's getting baptized, he sees the Holy Spirit descend upon him. And so, right here in the opening scene, we have all the elements that would also develop into the Trinity. We have God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit right in this opening scene. So, yeah, we got very important development of the story right from the beginning. So, have a look at a few images. This is the full immersion style baptism, which presumably John was performing in the River Jordan. In its modern form, we have some infant baptism, which is more of a sprinkling, etc. Right? Okay. So on to the Eucharist. The Eucharist, of course, develops out of the scene in which Jesus gives the Last Supper, and he says to his disciples, "This is my bread, this is my blood." In this version, he doesn't say, "Do this in remembrance of me." That comes later, but in this version, he does, of course, make a reference to bread and wine as being his body and blood. So, yes, in the earliest story of the gospel, we do have the element of the Eucharist. And as far as images goes, we see the cup, wine, bread, presented in various forms. Now, on to the idea of the Messiah or the Messiahship. In the Gospel of Mark, we see that the idea of the Messiah is really a pretext for his crucifixion. The priests and religious leaders need to find a way to get him killed, and of course, the author Mark uses the Messiah or Messiahship as a pretext for his crucifixion. The priests falsely accuse him and conspire against him and take the issue up with Pilate. And of course, Pilate is up to their game. He's on to them. He knows what they're doing. He knows that they're conspiring against him to get him crucified. And he plays along and he trades the criminal Barabbas for the innocent Jesus instead. As far as the Messiahship goes, we have a few images here we could look at. Nothing too exciting there. Now, to the final item, we have the crucifixion and the resurrection. And the main thing to note in the original story is that the resurrection and crucifixion is presented as, yes, a fulfillment of prophecy, but it is a fulfillment of Jesus' own prophecy about himself. The author has Jesus prophesy that he will die and resurrect on the third day. This prophecy is made twice. He predicts his own death. And the author, of course, knows that he's writing the story. He knows that that's how the story will end. And so he makes Jesus get crucified and rise from the empty tomb in his version. So just a couple images on that. We've got the empty tomb. Jesus not being in the empty tomb when the women come to anoint his body that morning. All right, so these are the 5 items which are presented in a very primitive form, quite different from the modern rituals or the rituals that would develop in the Christian church. But we do see in the original version of the story very primitive presentation of items that would develop into very important concepts, very important rituals. And so the main idea of this presentation today concerning the seeds of Mark is that these items predate the church and predate the development of the rituals in the church. It's a very important concept in my primitive Markan theory, primitive Markan priority theory. There you go. So thanks for joining me today. Hope this was a quick introduction to my theory with regards to the seeds of Mark and how they play an important role in the origin and development of Christianity. Hope you will like and subscribe and ask any questions in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.